Chains of the exile were broken at last. King Cyrus of Persia stood up upon his throne to send the Lord's people back to their home. Go up to Jerusalem, the decree was sent out. The people responded with a hopeful shout, with silver and gold and a heart for the way. They started the journey to a brand new day.
Zerubbabel led them, the prince of the line, to rebuild the temple by purpose divine. They gathered the remnant, the brave and the few, to start on the altar and make it all new.
The foundations were laid with a weep and a cheer. The sound of the shouting was all you could hear. The old men remembered the glory of old, while the young saw a future of silver and gold. But enemies gathered to stop the great hand, the local oppressors who lived in the land. They whispered to kings and they plotted with lies to halt the great house as it started to rise.
The work was suspended, the hammers grew still, the wheat started growing on Zion's high hill.
But Haggai and Zechariah spoke out to kindle the faith and to conquer the doubt. The elders took courage and picked up the stone, for the eye of the Father was on them alone. King Darius searched through the scrolls of the past and found the decree that was destined to last. Let the work carry on was the king's new command, with resources drawn from the wealth of the land. The temple was finished, the sacrifice bled, and the joy of the Passover feast was then spread. Years later, a scribe with a heart like a flame, Ezra the priest, called on the great name. He studied the law with a diligent mind, to teach all the people the truths they would find.
King Artaxerxes gave Ezra his hand to carry the treasures back to the land.
Whatever is needed for the house of your God shall be given to you on the path that you trod. Ezra gathered the people by the riverside to fast and to pray and in God to abide. He wouldn't ask soldiers to guard the long way, for the hand of the Lord was a shield and a stay. They carried the vessels of silver and white, traveling safely through the dark of the night. They reached the holy city, the mountains of blue, and offered their gifts as the faithful and true. But Ezra was told of a sorrowful thing that shook the white soul of the priest and the king. The people had mingled with nations around, and the holy seed now on dark soil was found.
He fell on his knees and he tore at his clothes, weeping for sins that the Holy One knows.
Oh God, I'm ashamed to lift up my face, for we have forsaken forsaken your mercy and grace.
He prayed in the rain by the house of the Lord,
While the people all trembled at the edge of the sword, a great congregation assembled in tears to cast off the sins of the past weary years. We have been unfaithful,
the leaders did cry,
but there is still hope for us.
under the sky.
Let us make a covenant holy and deep. The laws of our Father we promise to keep. The names were recorded, the families were told to separate from the idols of old. It wasn't an easy or simple command, but they sought to bring holiness back to the land.
Ezra the scribe
Stood on a pulpit of wood,
explaining the word,
so it was understood. From morning till noon he read out the law, and the people all bowed at the wonders they saw. He told them the joy of the Lord is your strength, through the breadth of the city and all of its length. Eat of the fat and drink of the sweet, for the work of the remnant is finally complete. From exile to altar, from sorrow to song, the hand of the Father had led them along. Through Ezra the priest and the word of his pen, the heart of the nation was beating again.